Hi guys, welcome back to Dual Craft Labs. Today we're going to be doing a short tutorial on creating these ornaments using these gold circles that we have. So I got these gold circles. They have the hole in them, so it's going to make a nice ornament here. They have a coated back on the back. So we're going to do this almost like we would do a mirror. And we're going to show you how we do that. We're going to be using the Xtool F2 Ultra UV to actually engrave this. These don't take very long to engrave. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put this in our F2. You can put it either on the regular base plate, or I always like to use the cutting plate that it comes with. That's just my personal preference. But we're going to make sure that this colored backing is going to be up, because again, we're going to be engraving on the back of this. So we're going to make sure that that little hole in the top is at the center, so that we can line everything up. So now that we have our item placed within the laser, we can go ahead and click New Project in the upper right. This will go ahead and open up a new tab for us up here in the upper left along the top part of your Xtool Studio software. Make sure that your laser is connected. You'll have this ready light up here whenever it's done. It will automatically come up with your image capture. Don't worry about this right now though, because this will actually change whenever we measure. I like to work from the top down over here on the right. So we're going to make sure that our process on flat surface is selected. Whenever we come over here to material, we're going to go ahead and click this gold metallic acrylic. While this isn't an exact match, it's close enough. We're actually going to make some changes to this. We're going to go ahead and click apply. And we're going to get this message here to remove the protective film from the front of that acrylic. Since we're engraving on the back, we don't need to remove that protective film unless we were engraving on the front. Since we're engraving on the back, we can leave it there, and this will help with any scratches or anything like that from our base plate. So we can just go ahead and click Got It. And now what we're going to do is we're going to measure. So we're going to click the little ruler up here in the upper right, and it will go ahead and measure. And once it's measured, it will say focusing has been successful, and we'll get that new image that we can use. Doesn't change much. It's a little bit darker, but that's okay. Now that we have this, we can go ahead and click our plus sign over here on the left in our tool palette. This is to bring an image in, to import an image or a saved project that you had done previously. But in this case, we're going to bring in an image. This will open up your dialog box. It's just a general dialog box that you're used to seeing. Find the image you want, and then you can go ahead and bring it in. This is going to ask us, because the image is larger, if we want to scale to fit. I always like to scale to fit, and whenever it does it, you'll notice it takes up my whole work area. That's what it's fitting to. So I'm going to take this right anchor point, and we can now go ahead and make this a little bit smaller. The other thing that I want to do is I want to crop this image to make it a little bit smaller so that I can just work with this house that I have here, which, by the way, is the witch house that is in Salem, Massachusetts. So we're going to crop this and make this a little bit smaller so it will fit a little bit better on our ornament. Once you get it to where you want it, you can go ahead and click Save. And again, this is still a little bit too big, so we're going to make this a little bit smaller. We can now place this kind of in the middle. We're going to do some final adjustments here towards the end, after we've placed everything on our ornament. Now that we have our image on there, we can go ahead and click over here the T, which is for text, over here on the left in our tool palette. Whenever I do this, I just click somewhere on our work surface that we have here. And by default, it comes up and says, hello. I'm going to take that, click on it, and then we can type in witch house, because I want to describe what this is. I can then click out of it, and now I can move this and kind of place this where I want it. I want this more towards the top of this. There we go. Now, I'm also going to put in Salem, Mass on the bottom, and instead of clicking text over on the left-hand side, I could do that if I wanted to. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Control C on my keyboard. Now I'm using a Windows device. If you're using a Mac, whatever that would be to copy, or you could right click and choose copy and then paste. I like to just use Control C and Control V to make my copies and pasting. And you'll see that it copied the witch house there. I'm just going to go ahead and double click in there and then double click again and type in Salem, Mass. There we go. Now that we have our text in here, I'm going to make sure that my text is where I want it, because these are going to kind of frame where I want my image to be and how big I can make that image. You can use your mouse and move it around if you want, or for finer control, use the arrows on your keyboard. I'm going to actually bring this down just a little bit and over to the right. You can see I have a nice fine control over that. Now that we have those set, I can now select my image and make this the size that I want it. I just want to make this, there we go, and maybe bring that up just a little bit. Nope, a little bit too far. There. There we go. That looks really good to me. That looks centered. It looks kind of how I want it and expect it to be. One thing you will notice is we now have over on the right, we now have two boxes. Because we have two different things that we're doing, text and an image, we're going to have two different options to select and to make changes to for our engraving options over here. So if I click on our words over here, I want to make sure that this is on Engrave because I want to engrave this. And then I'm going to change my power, and this is going to be 100. Now, I've done a number of test pieces, so I know what I want and what looks good and what I like for a final result. So I've done all of the work behind the scenes. Sometimes you have to waste a little bit of your product in order to get those settings really dialed in to where you want them. So we have our power on 100. We're going to have our speed at 500. We're going to do 2 passes on the words. I find that works really well. We're going to leave our lines per centimeter at 200. We're going to leave our frequency at 40 and our bidirectional for engraving mode. Now that we have that, we can go ahead and click our arrow here again on the right where it says multi-selected. We'll go ahead and click that, and now we can click on Engrave. This is going to change the options that we have from power and speed and lines per centimeter to dot duration, power, and DPI. Because we're not dealing with text, we're dealing with an image, in this case a PNG, our options change here. So for our dot duration, we are actually going to use 750. We're going to change our power to 80, so we can go ahead and change that. We're going to leave our DPI at 500. Our pass is going to be 1, our frequency at 40, but we're going to change our bitmap mode to Stucky. Stucky is kind of in between that Jarvis and Atkinson, and it kind of brings it all together, all the good pieces for those two, the Jarvis and the Stucky, Jarvis and Atkinson. We're going to leave our engraved mode on bidirectional. Now that we have all of our options set for our engraving, we can go ahead and click process. Oh, before we do that, so I made a mistake. So up here in the upper left, we're going to go ahead and click back. If you click process, you can go ahead and click back. Because we're doing the back of this ornament, we actually have to rotate this or flip this so that it's mirrored. So what I want to do is I want to click on my witch house, and up here at the top, I'm going to do reflect and reflect horizontally. And you'll notice that it actually flips this for me. So now I'm going to do the same thing for my Salem Mass, reflect horizontally, and the same thing for the image. We're going to do reflect and reflect horizontally. You notice it just flips everything. So instead of reading it left to right, it now reads right to left. Whenever we flip our ornament around, though, it will read correctly. Now, I could have, instead of doing each one separately, I could have taken this and just drawn a box around this with my mouse. Just click your mouse button, hold it down, and drag everything to select everything, and we could have done reflect there. for all of those pieces. But I wanted to show you how to do that. Now that we have that done, you could, if you wanted to, you could frame this. I generally don't for something like this, but that is entirely up to you. If you want to frame down here in the bottom right next to process, you can select either the outline, the rectangle, or a polygon where it will do your entire images. In this case, I'm not going to. I'm just going to go ahead and click process. So this is going to go ahead and it will process for us. And now we can click start. Once this is sent the file, we can go ahead over to our UV laser and click start on that. So we're over here on our F2 Ultra UV. We're going to go ahead and click start. And you hear the little click and it's going to start and it's going to go through and do what it does. This doesn't take very long. And we can see how this turned out. Now this is with the cover still on there, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that protective film and you'll be able to see the shine a little bit better. Right now it's a little bit matted so that you really can't see how this shines with the gold. And this is with that protective cover off there. You can see there's my hand, hello, there from the camera. But this is what it looks like with it all done. And this is ready to go. I would tie a ribbon around this, maybe a black ribbon or a potentially red ribbon that you could use. And now this becomes a very nice ornament. So as an experiment, I took one of the ones that I screwed up, which is right here. You'll notice that it's not, it was not reflected. And I used a paint pen on the back where we engraved. And I think it really makes the house pop a little bit more than just what we see here with the regular engraving. So that's always an option. You can always paint this on the back, make these pop a little bit more. Okay, guys, we hope that you enjoyed our little tutorial on our gold acrylic ornament. Please like, subscribe, and comment down below. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.